Welcome. Xperdyte has several tools to analyze the availability of stock items. In this video, we are focusing on one tool called Item Availability List. You will learn how to select the items you want to analyze, adjust the calculation filters, run the calculation, understand the supply and demand columns, read the total available result. Go to the Availability tool. From the main menu on the left, select MRP, then select Item Availability List. Before the system can calculate anything, you must choose which stock items to include. At the top of the screen, select Fetch Items. This opens a list where you can choose items. If you have the same item in multiple stores, you may see it repeated. For example, you may see flour listed in 3 different stores. You can choose a specific store item, or you can include all of them. Optional: filter before selecting. Before selecting items, you can filter the list to make it easier. For example, filter by store, if you only want items from one store. Filter by category, if you only want items in a certain inventory category. You can also filter using other columns, such as whether an item is manufactured. Once your list looks correct, select the items you want, then select Continue. Review the filters before calculating. The filter section controls how the calculation works. Examples of what you can adjust: sales order cutoff date. If you only want to look at the next 2 weeks of sales orders, set the date accordingly. Works order status range. You can choose not to include work orders below a certain status or above a certain status. Include or exclude specific factors. For example, you might choose not to include minimum levels or other settings. Most of the time, the default settings are already correct. Only change these filters if you have a specific reason. When you are ready, select Calculate at the top. The system pulls information from the accounting system and from Xperdyte. This is useful because it keeps everything on one screen, instead of switching between programs. Understand the results layout. After calculation, the results start after the manufactured column. The results are split into 2 main sections: supply and demand. Supply section explained. The supply section has 3 columns. These columns show what supply you have for the item. On hand. This is what is currently in the stores. On purchase order. This is stock that has been ordered from a supplier. You do not have it yet, but the order is placed, so it is expected supply. Work in progress supply. This relates to work orders that are producing that item. If there are active work orders making the item, that expected output counts as supply. These 3 columns combined represent your total supply. Demand section explained. The demand section also has 3 columns. These columns show what demand exists for the item. Sales order demand. If the item is on a sales order, it must be supplied to a customer. That is demand. Work in progress demand. If work orders need to consume the item, that is demand. For example, if the item is a raw material that must be issued to works orders. Minimum level. This is your safety stock. For example, if you always want to keep 100 units available, that minimum level is treated as demand. It means you should not drop below that level. These 3 columns combined represent your total demand. After the supply and demand sections, you will see total supply. This is the sum of the 3 supply columns. Total demand. This is the sum of the 3 demand columns. Total available. This is calculated by subtracting total demand from total supply. This total available figure is what you use to take action. Rows with the availability in red are calculated at a shortage, and action should be taken to bring in more supply. If it's a manufactured item, this would typically require that the user creates a new works order. To create a works order from this screen, select the rows, and click the Create Works Order button. To purchase raw material, the results can be exported to Excel. Click on Print Grid. Then select the Export button, and then select XLSX for Excel. This can then be sent to the procurement department as a buyer's list. Rows in green. This show that there is sufficient supply. However, it may be useful to look at the figures and identify items that are being overstocked. That is how the item availability list works in Xperdyte. If you would like help, reach out to the Xperdyte team. info@xperdyte.co.za. Thank you for watching.